The Russians were invited here. In 2017, a rebel movement aligned with the former president was threatening to overthrow the government. The state had little control outside the capital. A French peacekeeping mission was ending, and French troops were leaving. UN peacekeepers, lacking clear authorities, were unable to stop the violence. So President Faustin Touadéra appealed to Vladimir Putin for help. Putin was happy to expand Russia's footprint in Africa, but instead of sending official Russian troops, he sent in Wagner mercenaries as military instructors. They could operate in the gray zone, keeping a Russian presence with plausible deniability. After they arrived, the mercenaries expanded their operations, going on combat missions to beat back the rebels. Today, Wagner is everywhere, patrolling in the open, providing personal protection for the president, and keeping his government in power. But at what cost? I went to meet Fidel Guanjica, a close advisor to the president.
I think we're in the right place. The Palace of Guanjica. Hello,
Hello,
Guanjica.
I am Guanjica. How are you?
I'm very well, Richard.
Welcome in Central Africa and Guanjica Palace.
Yes, so Guanjica Palace, this is your palace?
This is my
your...
palace.
Can you show us around a little bit?
Let's go downtown to show you my village here.
I would love that. How many bedrooms in the Guanjica Palace?
Too many. About 80.
80
rooms, yes.
80. All right, which car? Should we take the limo?
No. This is American car.
I
Let's
can see
go
it.
this Japanese car.
All right, fair enough.
He wanted to show me why Wagner is misunderstood, that they brought peace to a country that has only known war. Guanjica ran for president here in 2015 and became a local celebrity. He loves Wagner and all things Russia. Wagner is surprisingly popular here, in part because they promote themselves. There's a life-size statue in the capital, honoring Wagner's sacrifices and bravery in defending the local people in battles against the rebels.
If your ambassador knows that you are here in this area, I don't.
They wouldn't like it?
No.
Why not?
Don't come here because you will be killed.
Well, I hope not.
It's fake news.
You're like the king of this area.
I am the king of this area. Maybe the next king of Central African Republic.
Is that something you want?
No. This is a popular market. Okay.
You lead the way, show us where to go. Go.
Follow me.
Oh, exactly.
Mama Sekere. Americana gastar interview. Americana ala gaso ofanyama. Americana gati barala zo. Ala gati bando katene. Ateno, kodoti guerre mitendo.
I lost him. Apparently he's this way. Easy to get lost here. You look around for 1 second. There he is.
This is the central market. They sell meat.
Buffalo?
We live in our poverty, but there is a calm, a peace here in Central Africa.
It doesn't feel hostile or aggressive. It feels very calm.
Very calm here.
Is that barbershop?
It is
Don't cut him. Do you like the presence here of the Russians? Do you think
every people in Central Africa loves the Russian people too much.
What about all the resources? They take gold, they take minerals, they take timber.
It is fake news from Western opinion. Maybe Wagner is bad in the other country, but in our country, they kill rebels. They bring to us democracy. We never hear that Russia soldier kill people
Guanjica had one more stop on his Wagner publicity tour.
Hey, let's go.
To prove that the Russian company connects with the people and invests locally. Wagner has gone into the beer business.
Russian beer, the best in our country.
The beer is called Africa Gold.
You pay, not me.
The brewery is owned by a senior Wagner representative.
So this is the future, huh? This is the young generation.
We have no work,
That's what I was going to say. Where are the jobs?
no job because of war.
The beer has arrived.
The beer company runs a promotion. A nugget of gold is supposedly hidden under a few lucky caps.
All right, let's see if I'm lucky. No luck. No luck.
Africa Gold is a top seller here. Wagner has proven to be a tough competitor. Just months after Africa Gold was launched on the market, a rival French brewery in Bangui was attacked. CCTV footage shows the moment two masked men dressed in what look like Wagner uniforms lob Molotov cocktails into the brewery. No one was ever arrested, and Wagner's beer business has thrived ever since. Today, no one found any caps. And Guanjica didn't order enough to go around. At the only pediatric hospital in Bangui, run by UNICEF, I saw room after room of babies starving to death. The country has one of the worst infant mortality rates in the world for the simple reason that mothers don't have enough money to buy food.
What's it like for you to see all these sick kids? Not all of them going to make it. How does that feel for you?
Ça nous gêne. Parfois, les mamans n'ont pas les moyens, par exemple, pour acheter de quoi à manger pour leurs enfants. Les enfants tombent dans cet état.
This country has so much potential, so much wealth under the ground. Yet it has the third highest infant mortality rate in the world. Why do you think that is?
Bon, moi, je trouve que peut-être c'est un problème de leader, je sais pas. Est-ce que c'est un problème, ça ne relève pas de nous, à la situation de notre pays, bien qu'on a un sous-sol riche et qu'on est resté toujours derrière par rapport aux autres.
The Central African Republic has some of the richest diamond and gold mines on the continent, and there are no major international mining companies working here because it's so dangerous. The Indasima gold mine is the biggest in the country. Completely unregulated and with no safety equipment, workers break their backs digging out tons of earth to sift for flecks of gold. Wagner saw an opportunity. The mercenaries swept into Indasima to clear the area of rebels. But witnesses say they really wanted full control of the mine. I met a woman who lived near the Indasima gold mine, one of the biggest in the country. We've concealed her identity for her protection.
What happened on the day when the Wagner troops, Wagner mercenaries, arrived?
They came in a pickup truck with heavy weapons. They were armed, white men in khaki uniforms. When the people refused to leave the area around the gold mine, the soldiers beat them and started whipping and torturing them. It was 3 days later that they killed my husband. I saw my husband's body and his colleagues. They were buried in the same hole. There were 8 of them. They had their war clothes on, and a tall Russian took a shovel to bury them. I was under a tree watching.
Who runs this country? The Russians or the government?
Bibanga so sinda pembina mbeto keta mema laso amenge chindi moya dape baba dape zuchimu maboko na ndai dape.
Wagner now controls all access to Indocima. But these days, you can't hide what can be seen from above. Working with the research and advocacy group The Century, we investigated the mercenaries' violent takeover of Indocima. Satellite imagery from 2019 shows the site when it was still dug by hand. A small workers' camp is clustered around the main open pit. But by May of this year, the workers' camp was literally wiped off the map. And the once crude site was developed, industrialized, and expanded. With a processing plant that analysts say can purify gold on site. A government memo says the mine was officially handed over to a Russian mining company called, appropriately, Midas Resources. The memo says the mine's gold deposits could be worth the equivalent of nearly $3 billion. Blood money for keeping the government afloat. I wanted to go back to Guanjica to see if I could pin him down on what's really happening at the mines.
Thank you. Let me ask you some serious questions, hard questions. Okay. What about this mine, the Indocima mine? There are so many reports that Wagner troops came in, brutalized the people in order to get them to leave.
No. Russian people with our army secure the area of mine, the area of diamond. They don't steal, they don't kill people, they keep quiet in this area.
So who's taking it? So who's extracting?
Nobody.
So you're saying there's no activity going on
No
at these mines?
activity there. It is a lie. It's a fake news.
It seemed Guanjica wouldn't say anything that could offend Wagner. After all, the government's survival depends on them. Diplomats tell NBC News Wagner extracts roughly $500 million a year from this country, mostly in diamonds and gold. Kessie Acomo is a civil society activist and one of the few people here speaking out against Wagner.
The numbers that I've been told is that Wagner takes out about $500 million a year from this country in gold, diamond, timber, other things, and doesn't put much money in. What they put in is some guys with guns, and mostly it's an extraction business.
Yeah.
Is that what you see as well?
Let's say that civil society is aware of that, but does it change something for the population? No. That's the point, actually. Even though we are aware.
But doesn't it change something? They're stealing from the poorest people.
But before that, no one really gave money to those people. No one was even aware that there was that level of money in that, in that area.
Has any Wagner fighter been held accountable for anything in this country? I don't think so.
Never.
Do you think one day the people of this country will have access to the wealth of their country?
It's a long way to go, but I will not be there to see it. I don't think my son will be there to see it, or my,
Your son is only 4.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think he will be there to see it because it's a really long way to go. But the thing that we have to do is to teach people, like to push our people to really, kind of regain access. To say that this country is our country.
One of the main reasons many here don't see Wagner as a threat is that the company is very good at marketing itself, especially to the younger generation. Sometimes all you need is a movie.
Oublié. Okay, merci, thank you. 69. All right, thank you.
Wagner produced a feature-length film about its war to rid the Central African Republic of terrorist rebels. It's called The Tourist. And it's about a Russian man who volunteered to bring freedom and justice to Africa.
Bad guys, the Russians are fighting.
It was all shot on location. And the plot lines are simple. The Russians are good. UN peacekeepers are useless and weak. And the French are colonialists scheming to return to power. It was made with the government's full cooperation. The president in the movie is played by a relative of the real president.
Well, guess what? The Russians win. They put down the rebellion and save the day. It's basically a Russian Rambo, and it's okay. It's violent. I would say I would give it a maybe 3 out of 5 stars. But it is part of a much wider propaganda effort where Russia is selling its message as the savior of this country.
And it seems to be working.
Hello. How are you?
Fine.
So, have you seen the movie? Do you think it's true or do you think it's propaganda?
Sì, inga ka je vraie histoire parce que mi vivra contre inga bag une vraie histoire.
It sounds like you think the Russians helped this country the same way they did in the movie.
Sì, population ci na rusa, même die so rusa sala.
But The Tourist is largely fiction. In secret, I met a militia fighter who went on missions with Wagner. They were supposed to be fighting rebels, just like in the movie.
People on the streets here seem to like the Russians. What did you see and what do you know that the people on the street here don't know?
I was working with the Russians, hunting rebels. When we arrived in one village, they told the chief to show them where the rebels were. They beat him and tied him to a tree. When he said he didn't have any information, they killed him. Another time, when I was working with them, they found a vehicle. It was a Land Cruiser and they thought it belonged to the rebels. They killed the whole family inside, including children with their father and mother. During my time with them, I saw them kill over 30 people. People who were not rebels.
Working with The Sentry, NBC reviewed dozens of accounts of atrocities committed by Wagner, including murder, kidnapping, and rape. The U.S. Treasury has repeatedly put sanctions on the group, its leaders, and its companies for crimes. Still, no one has ever been held to account. In this country, Wagner has free rein. And that could be because they have a very important ally. President Faustian Touadera first invited Wagner into the country and now relies on the group to stay in power. I wanted to know if he thought he'd made a deal with the devil.
Mr. President, it's a real pleasure. Richard Engel, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
I understand why you reached out and you accepted Russian help. Are you happy with it?
Posez cette question au peuple centrafricain. Est-ce que vous êtes satisfait ou non? Ils vous répondront. Et moi, je suis là pour demander, faire en sorte que ce peuple soit protégé. De plus en plus, des endroits où l'armée nationale ne peut pas se déployer, aujourd'hui, l'armée nationale se déploie.
What do you say about reports that allege that the Russian forces who you brought in to help secure this country have committed abuses.
Écoutez, nous sommes un gouvernement responsable. Et il y a des lois dans ce pays. Il y a des lois. Si c'est avéré, on doit traduire ça en justice.
We've talked about Russia, but the word Wagner hasn't come out of your mouth. What is this group? What do you think of Wagner?
Écoutez, nous sommes en coopération avec la Fédération de Russie. Chaque pays a ses modalités de coopérer.
The phrase stuck with me. It seems Putin's modality of cooperation is to use mercenaries to prop up weak governments and take what they can. Wagner is using the Central African Republic as a model and training ground as it expands its operations across Africa, offering security services to places that have two things in common: natural resources and armed conflict. I reached out to Wagner's boss, Yevgeny Prigozhin, for his response to what we'd seen in the Central African Republic. He responded quickly with a voice note.
Я думаю, вы получили уже достаточно информации о деятельности Вагнер в Африке от тех лиц, с которыми беседовали. Если вы просто хотели этими вопросами подбежать ко мне и плюнуть в мою сторону, то я вам предлагаю приблизиться ко мне на близкое расстояние, а после этого разобраться, это ваш кадык у меня в руке или чей-то еще.
Prigozhin's message was intimidating, but not altogether surprising. After all, he's building a valuable empire in Africa, and he doesn't appreciate journalists poking around in it. Weeks after I visited Bangui, Prigozhin and his Wagner fighters launched a short-lived mutiny against the Kremlin. He said it was an act of protest over failures in the war in Ukraine. Putin called Prigozhin a traitor, but then cut a deal with him and let him live. Why? It's possible his operations in Africa may be too valuable to give up. A month after the mutiny, Putin hosted a summit for African leaders in St. Petersburg. President Touadéra was on hand, and so was Prigozhin, who claimed Wagner's Africa network is not only intact, but growing, especially in the Central African Republic, where President Touadéra, flanked by Wagner mercenaries, is pushing through a referendum to change the constitution, setting him up to potentially be president for life, giving Wagner free rein here for years. But it all seems so grossly unfair that yet again a private company working for a foreign government is taking so much from people who have so little.
This river is the lifeblood of this country and always has been, but it has also brought problems. Outsiders, slavers, people looking to exploit this country. It was a French colony for a long time, and now many say it is becoming a Russian colony, but the goal is the same. Outsiders, foreigners coming in to take the country's wealth by force.